Emulating Glenn Beck's patented fusion of entertainment and enlightenment is Locksmith Charley, who will answer all your questions about locks and keys, automotive security systems, and safe maintenance and servicing. He'll also discuss how you can avoid being scammed by unscrupulous tradespeople, people who are oftentimes referred to as ghosts or gypsies. Locksmith Charley has 25 years experience and was recently sworn in as Southwest Director of Associated Locksmiths of America. And now, here's your host, Locksmith Charley.
Well, we were supposed to just start with the music bed, and then I was going to come up with something wacky and unusual, but I guess we managed to blow that whole thing. Because I was going to start out with...
Hey, Charlie, aren't you in...
No, I was going to start out with Live from New York, it's...
Charlie, but you're not in New York.
And it's not Saturday night. And then I was going to start out with, and live from Ramsey Solutions, and
Charlie,
Ryan was...
You're not in Nashville either.
Yeah. So, there went my whole wackiness for this morning. And I hear we're going to have some very unreasonable people on the phone today.
Yes, we are.
Well, let's, are they on the phone yet?
Yes.
Well, let's...
Leland, are you there?
Yes, I am.
How are you?
Hi, how you doing? Yes, I spoke to you, Charlie, earlier, and Andrew, we go quite a ways back. I've been in the industry since 1988. We're talking about this originally, they listed as the locksmith phony locksmith scam issue we've been dealing with.
Yes.
Yes, myself and Mike Bronzall. We're some of the originators as well as Locksmith Charlie and all you guys who's been working on this. Back, it's going on 15 years now, and basically I got a very large regimen that we, besides working as scam force enforcers with Aloha, as we started out with Tim McMillan, I got a very large library under reasonable locksmithing and Aloha Warn Beware Scammer Locksmiths on YouTube, and especially the Lookout and the Good Morning America report. They're definitely two of the most outstanding, but this is just getting such a horrendous situation. This has been going on for about 15 years now.
Yes.
Calls a day, 20. You're getting usually 20 calls a day, and now you're down to sometimes no calls at all. And people are even stealing phone numbers. I don't know if you wanted to comment yourself, Charlie or Andrew, on this.
Well, I do know that's how I learned about it when I read a ClearStar post from Bobby DeWeese talking about how the scammers had changed all the phone numbers on his Google Maps listing to their numbers. But go on, tell us what you know about it.
Oh, yes. Basically, I spoke with Mike Bronzall after being a member of Aloha since 1990 and a certified locksmith since 1988. Basically, what originally happened was I started getting a lot of reports in the area, people, addresses that weren't correct for locksmiths. And I contacted Tim McMillan, and he told me to reach out with Mike Bronzall. He was the same issue. Mike Bronzall, when I spoke to him, he told me the situation that took place in his life. He had a very successful locksmith business in Chicago, and he woke up one morning and got his new phone book, and there's a bunch of locksmith listings in. So he decided to go down to greet these people, and he went down to greet these people. He ended up seeing at these locations pizza houses and everything else, and nobody knew nothing about locksmiths. And he was scratching his head. He's like, I really don't know what's going on here. And then Mike started researching, and the more he looked, the more and more spam and scamming he kept on finding. And originally we started out with a title with the listings as phony locksmiths, and then we were revised. It's best to change over the logo itself to scammer would be a better title to start listing this as, which it would fit the profiles a lot better of what's going on. But it's just getting worse and worse. It's gone to these people that are impersonating us real locksmiths, hijacking our phone numbers, actually taking our IDs, and if people call up and ask and say we're looking for the person's number when they're hijacking, they say they're us. And basically it's just accelerating, and we're looking at 15 years now. What are your feelings on this, Charlie and Andrew?
Well, I know there's been a variety of different approaches to this. Some of it's been changing Google with the phone numbers. A couple of years before that, one of my friends, Warren, had come into the shop with a list of valid company names, valid company addresses that showed listings of different phone numbers, and they believed that Dex was responsible for that. But my feeling is, and always has been, that the phone books are primarily not the phone books. The phone companies are primarily responsible because they lease the numbers out to the end users and provide the phone book publishers with all the directory listing information. So I don't see how the phone book companies can be blamed for just republishing what they've been given. Andrew, your thoughts?
Well, hold on. It's on the wrong headphones there. Reposting stuff from the phone books is something that Google has done several times. I don't necessarily know if they buy them. I think they just get the leads from them.
Yeah.
And I think fighting fire with fire is where we need to be. We're not going to get rid of these guys anytime soon, I don't think. They're always going to be here. I do see ones come and go quite a bit in our town. Different numbers, different people. There's a new way of doing it I've kind of noticed over the last couple of weeks. We talked about the green box on the Locksmith US website. I don't want to give that website out, but there was a green box on a website that listed most of our phone numbers, all of us legit locksmiths across the United States, and the scammers as well, that had a click-to-call box that went to our on our listing on their website, went to their phone as soon as you click to call it, which I was not okay with, but we have yet seen that on the website in the last few days. It has gone away.
Well, to restate that a little bit more clearly, Andrew's name, address, and phone number would appear on the screen with the click-to-call box underneath it. Or my name and address might appear on the screen with the click-to-call box underneath it.
Or even a Rizimoto.
Whoever. Name. There's been 4 members of the board of directors and 165 ALOA members in the Southwest region that I've been able to identify. But
we had it even in New York up here too, as basically Mike Bronzell did call me, and if you get a chance, Mike, if you're out there listening, it'd be great if you could call in. But basically, Mike was explaining to me about it this past week, and sure enough, when I looked, it was there in New York.
Yeah. It was still there?
It was there.
Oh.
And then later it disappeared.
Yeah, and that's what we've noticed over the last couple of days.
And the thing is, a lot of people don't realize, if this was a police officer going to somebody's home, providing service, every national news broadcast station would emphasize what's happening, and a criminal content. Basically, now at this time, if you have a locksmith go in somebody's house and rip somebody off, and I've heard of one alleged case where even one guy and he supposedly raped the one girl, and we do have one even on my broadcast channel where the guy went in and stole this young lady's television and mounted it on his wall. The police found it afterwards. So this is just not a small issue, isolated.
Well, I think we should go find this guy that went and raped the girl and take him out and summarily execute him, or maybe just fly a small aircraft over the middle of Mexico and invite him to jump. We might give him a parachute, but anyway, we've got just a moment left before our break, and the call-in number, Mike, is 602-277-5369, or
the 800 number, 1-800-536-1100.
Or even Tom Lynch, if you want to call. Give us a call.
Oh, I'd love to hear from Tom, too. He's fantastic. He's been doing a lot of work on this as well.
Yes.
Of course,
we'll be back
any
after the
Aloha
break.
members.
Anybody.
Yes, and if feel free to post my links, too, up there that these people can see these videos. You're looking at probably about close to 80 of videos. There's a...
Welcome back to the Locksmith Show, featuring Andrew, Ryan, and
Charley.
Wacko Locksmith Charley here.
Wacko was right.
We have the reasonable locksmith, Mr. Leland, on the phone with us, but apparently we have also the mystery locksmith, who we ought to find out who that is and what they have to say. Go ahead.
You're speaking about the scammers. The first time I heard about the scammers, I have a locksmith friend that's also an Aloha member. That's how I met him. He was over in Germany, and he was talking about 2 years before I ever heard about him in the States. They were getting single line yellow page ads over there, not display ads, and just loading them up on the yellow pages there, and that's how they started over there. It's not just a U.S. epidemic. It's Europe also.
Well, I know that they did a lot of that over here, but that kind of surprises me a little because I've only heard of this in mostly English-speaking countries. And Germany is not exactly an English-speaking country, is it?
Not
They
fully.
speak English over there.
They speak English over there, but not fully.
But
And my locksmith friend is American also.
I have seen it in stories from Great Britain and some other places like that.
and Canada and
Yes.
Australia.
Yes.
So it's not just a U.S. epidemic. That's
No,
all.
it's a worldwide epidemic, but it's, you know, us based here in the States it's really taken a toll in some of the major cities here, where they are really ripping off the consumer.
Well, they're doing every major metropolitan area. There's a lot of the smaller cities or villages that they don't even bother with because they know the big profit centers aren't there. Well, whereabouts are you at now?
I'm out in West Valley. I'm out by Peoria and El Mirage, Sun City area.
I get it.
Yeah, you do. What's up, Charlie? My friend, he's talking about doing what you were talking about doing. The news programs have paid they have had him call other locksmith companies out, and they sit inside of an apartment and call other locksmith companies out for lockouts, and they film what's going on and everything. And that's kind of how they're exposing it to the public out there. They pay them their fee and everything else, and then my buddy sits inside and he shows everybody before on the film, you know, when they air it, he shows what they did to set up the supposed problem and everything and what the remedies could be, and then they show how these other locksmiths deal with it. And
Was this stuff that's been aired, or is this stuff that he's just collecting?
no, from what I understand, it's been aired.
Okay, I haven't seen a lot of that stuff here in Phoenix.
No, that was in Germany.
Oh,
Yeah, we can put you in contact with him if you want.
Well, yeah,
that would be great.
Shoot us an email and
I said he is
Live
an
at the
Aloha member.
locksmithshow.com. We'll get to
Internet.
all three of us here, actually. And if anybody's ever interested in listening to prior podcasts, they are on the Locksmith Show under our podcast page. And we have, I believe, about 10 or 12 shows from the previous shows that we have had.
We don't have all 84 of them.
Not all 84 of them.
Oh, wait a minute. We haven't done 84
I was going
yet.
to say, I don't think we've done 84 unless you count by 10.
You guys need to go back to school and take a math class.
That's why we're locksmiths.
And a geography class.
And a geography class.
Time class, no doubt.
And a time class.
Yeah, we're going to, yeah.
Charlie has a hard time getting up at 11 a.m. on a Sunday.
Last week you guys were talking about safe locks,
yeah.
And I just wanted to mention one of the reasons that certain companies recommend or want you to use Duracell or Energizer is because it's specific discharge rates. Duracell has a different discharge rate than Energizer, and their particular solenoids and electronics respond particularly well to the particular battery they recommend.
Well, now you have me confused because I remember, I think one time AMSEC was telling me use Duracell only, and then I opened up a box with a brand new lock in it that had 2 Energizer Bunny batteries in it. I'm like, why are they shipping something different than they're recommending?
Well, they'd all work, but over the long run, it discharges it wears it down differently. It lasts longer.
Well, the explanation I was given was that the Duracell Copper Top or the Energizer batteries were just far superior to all the other crap brands that are out there, and that's why, there was one time I went down to a local supplier here who's going to remain unnamed, and I walked in the door and she said, "Charlie, I think I'm going to have you drill my safe open." And I sent my worker bee out to start hauling the drilling in stuff in, and we had half the stuff inside when I pulled the cover off, and I look at it and I says, "What in the world kind of batteries are you using? Hang on a minute." And I took the nonsense batteries out, threw them away, and put in 2 Energizer Bunnies and said, "What's your code?" And I poked that in and click and opened the door, and I said, "I don't think we're going to need to drill it."
Nope.
Had a customer call this week, and I could hear it over the phone, a warble on their tone. I said, "You definitely got low batteries." And they called back and said, "Thank you. You got it open."
Maybe we get a promo between Duracell Energizer on this.
Now there's an idea.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll promote us.
We have the Energizer Bunny sitting right up here on the top shelf.
There you go.
With all the pictures I've been taking and posting on Instagram,
yes.
It would be good promo for those guys.
Wouldn't it make a little noise, though, if the Energizer Bunny was hopping across the...
Yeah, that would be true. That would
be
very true.
Make a female bunny, I think.
Oh, wow.
Down boy.
So actually, we had a safe call this week. This is the first one we've done in a while. A local bar that we used to frequent gave us a call. They weren't able to get into their safe. Every time they punched in the code, it wouldn't do anything. Figured the batteries were dead, and so we got out there and ended up being more of a firebox than an actual safe, and had a very, very insecure keyed lock on it that Andrew was able to pick in, less than 5 seconds?
No, something like that.
You literally put the pick in and it just fell open.
Yep.
Definitely less than an
Not
hour.
really a safe.
Yeah, not much of a safe. So
More of a firebox. Anything that's inside of that thing will last through a good 2-hour fire, but nothing else.
Well, some of the classes we go to, penetration parties, they have a little contest at the end of the class on who can open the Sentry safe the fastest. Record 9 seconds now. It was last time I heard.
This wasn't a Sentry. It was very similar to a Sentry.
Now, was that with the crowbar, or was that by twiddling the knob?
No, that was with a sledgehammer.
Ah. Well, all right then.
That'll do the trick.
That'll do the trick, too.
So do we still have the reasonable guy with us? Or
Oh, sure. Hanging out here. Listen about the Energizer Bunny.
and not
I
saying
was wondering, too, is it you think that it's possible that we could today get those links out there for reasonable locksmithing at a lower Beware a Scammer Locksmith. And also another one I want to call you to effect too is the blogger that I put out for all these years for the videos I could not download. It's Reasonable Locksmithing Blogger, and those are the ones that I had to copy and paste the embedding codes into so I'd be able to put the news reports. But that's another source that's even more reports on. So
what are those two websites, Leland?
Okay, the first one is the YouTube site. Just typing in on YouTube, Reasonable Locksmithing and Aloha, Beware a Scammer Locksmith. And then the other one would be Reasonable Locksmithing Blogger, and that would be just a link with itself. You click on that. It does have my personal advertisement on there as well, but the rest of the stuff going down as you follow it will have the video after video after video.
I'm actually on
all
that
the scammer
website.
Stories.
I'm on that website right now. It's reasonablelocksmith.blogspot.com.
Yep. It's Reasonable Locksmithing.
No, it's just reasonable. The actual link itself is just Reasonable Locksmith.
If you go ahead and send us whatever links you have to live@thelocksmithshow.com,
I will get them up on the Locksmith Show website for the podcast as of probably be up there at about 12:30 Arizona time today.
And if anybody else has any questions,
can you see them on the internet right now, like the Lookout, and especially I was taking a talk with Mike Bronzo. And the two really outstanding reports that really seemed to jump out to people was the Lookout report, and that was done undercover in New Jersey. And then the other one was Good Morning America
and we'll
report.
Be back after this, ladies and gentlemen.
You're listening to Independent Talk, 1100 KFNX.
Welcome back to the Locksmith Show, where we have probably the only guy in town that's going to roll up to a service call on a Harley on one phone, and Leland, the reasonable guy, on the other phone, and still haven't had any consumers call in yet with any questions. The call-in number is 602-277-5369 or 277-KFNX. And we are here to answer any questions, concerns, curiosities, or any of that local consumers might have.
With anything from your house, your safe, your car, your business. Anything that has a lock on it, we will answer the question.
Now, don't forget the magnets and the access controls and the cameras and.
Oh, Charlie and Andrew.
Yes.
What I was wondering is if we could encourage those folks that have been taken advantage of by these scammer companies to take a deep breath and be willing to reach out and share their story to our on-air viewers. I really recommend it very highly. It's time to become brave and really take care of that person who is the next victim as well. I know it's a lot to ask if you've been victimized by these scammers, but be brave, call in. You can call in anonymously and just at least tell us your story and tell us what happened. So maybe we can do something to prevent somebody else from being hurt. How do you guys feel about this?
Well, this is one thing I really don't understand. I was called by Three on Your Side regarding the affair with Sky Johnson, and I went out and made an appearance and went on the record on that particular case, and I've reached out to her mom 2 or 3 times about getting her to come on the show. And another gal, I believe her name was Diane, up in North Scottsdale, where the same guy, Ami Hanan, went and charged her, I think it was $940-something for like 6 rekeys and a deadbolt. And I went to her house and talked to her personally, and it seems like even after they've been on television talking about it, that they're just reluctant to take it any further. I mean, I wanted, either or both of them to participate in some civil proceedings to go after these criminals. And after they've reached out to television, I don't know why they're reluctant. But a lot of these other ones, one time I sent out a subpoena to the BBB and got, I think it was 900 something different listings over a couple of years of complaints. And if I remember right, 80 or 90% of them were against Run Local. And when I called these people each and said, hey, would you be involved? I couldn't get anybody that wanted to, and I don't know if it was fear of embarrassment. Oh my God, I'm a smart person. How could I get duped, or what it was? But they just don't want to talk about it. Andrew, have you encountered anybody like that?
I've encountered a few people like that. I don't necessarily know if they're scared to talk. I think they'd rather just put it behind them and move on. They'll take their loss and move on from it. I do know a guy that worked for the scammers, and I've requested him to come on the radio, but he won't do it either. Several times. He hasn't worked for them for over a year, and he's actually scared to come on the radio. He doesn't want to be talked about or have his voice or anything distinguishing that it's him telling people what they were doing and how they did it and everything else.
Also, Andrew, what I was very concerned about, it's been proven and shown even when Mike did the report with ABC News on the Lookout, that these folks are part of the Israeli mafia and so on, and it's really organized crime. And people seeing and hearing more about this, people just think it's just an everyday organized fly-by-night person, but it's not. It's really organized crime that's involved in this. So a lot of people just don't realize. They just think it's an isolated incident and let it go. So people really need to wake up about this.
And I agree with you totally on it. I think what Charlie and I have started over here, and I hope we can get it syndicated across the United States with lots of the other locksmiths locally on our show, is to help bring the awareness to the consumer. This is a problem. I don't think it's going to go anytime soon, but I do think we can keep telling people about it, and hopefully that they will call one of us or call one of the other guys that we recommend.
Well, look, for instance, Mark Baldino's situation here too. Mark Baldino, he's worked so hard to make such a good company. He's losing $1 million a year, as he stated. I hope Mark, if he's listening out there, would reach out and call in and explain a little bit more too, because he's been through so much and he's done so much. We really got to commend him highly.
Well, I agree, and we've had him on a couple of times. The problem, as I see it, is that we can't seem to get anything put together in a sane and consistent manner. I mean, what I see personally from just sitting back and looking at all the angles is Mark Baldino is trying to put together his fair trade locksmith listings. And when Andrew and I first got together, I learned that Andrew is trying to put together his listings on a local level here and for Arizona. And, well, I understand that Lynch is doing something similar on the SOPL website, and I know Aloha's horrendous findalocksmith.com website is all trying to do the same thing. What we need to do is find a way to get all of these groups to congeal their efforts into one centralized, cohesive network that is not just a scattering of 18 people inventing 24 different kinds of wheels.
Yes, and I will be the first person to ask anybody to call me. My phone number is 480-437-4022 is a direct line to me. and I will talk to anybody about what I'm doing, and share my ideas and share what I've seen has worked in my local ways that I'm doing it. I'm not trying it on a national level yet. The way Google works is I have lots of close friends and family members that are rather large into web design and SEO, and we are doing things locally to engage other locksmiths who don't have websites, who don't have means of doing anything online advertising, which the direction we've taken in the last 5 years is gone away from the paper book and more toward the internet. 70% of the people out there search on Google. The other 30 search with YouTube and Bing and Yahoo, which YouTube and Google are the same company. So there's ways of making it, manipulating it, doing it the right way, or we could do it the way that the scammers do it and just get yourself at the top until you get busted and then you get thrown down. Or if you
Another big thing is that Yelp, too, is out there promoting quite a bit and steering people as well. And they're saying that the iPhones, when you hit Siri, automatically directs you to automatically Yelp itself. If you're using Android, it takes you to Google. If you use actually an iPhone, Siri on iPhone is driven by Yelp.
A big portion of it's driven by Yelp. Actually, Apple Maps was something that was created in the last few months, year. Right. They've been testing it. You actually can go get your own listing. You'll show up twice on Google Maps if you do it that way. Through Google Maps, through Apple Maps. There's a way of doing it in the backside of it. You just have to go find it. But you can set up your own link, or you can have somebody else set it up. But I actually have two of them that run on the Apple one because it's pulling the Yelp one as well.
Well, that's fantastic.
The one problem,
I was wondering, go ahead, Charlie.
The one problem that I see with Yelp is they're doing basically the same thing Google and Yahoo and some of these other sources were doing, is that they're just obtaining lists that have every listing they can find, including all of the scammers, and throwing them out there as if they're legitimate businesses. And I do have a fairly strong objection to putting unverified listings out just so they can say we've got X number of businesses populating our database. I mean, it's just that's just the wrong way to do things. They should not be just culling as many listings as they can so that they can I mean, even this website that we don't want to talk about that was doing the whole green box thing, I've seen, if you just go to local service in Poco in Arizona, I see hundreds and hundreds of listings that I've already identified as scammer listings on there. And I don't know what to do about that. I do know that one guy in Southern California had his listing actually completely removed from that website. Jan Paxton over in Fresno sent me an email, copied me on an email he sent them. He says, "Take me off your website before I have my lawyer do it." And all of a sudden they went away. So we're coming up on another break in another hour or so.
Charlie, I want to highly commend you, though, on your acts of the Real Locksmith Network that you have the websites posted. I think you've done a terrific job, and maybe you want to tell the folks a little more about that?
The Real Locksmith Network? That's run
by... Right,
a
lot of people may not know about that.
I think it's B.B. Edwards.
Right.
Yeah, that's not me. That's Billy B. Edwards.
Billy B. Edwards, that's right. But I'm saying with your efforts and stuff and what you've been steering, with Edwards.
I'm going to jump in on this one because I'd like to contact a few of the gentlemen that are actually on that, on those websites. I'm going to call for all the locksmiths to understand how Google works now and understand that in the next few months to a year, you're going to have some major changes. And I'll get to that right after the break here.
Fantastic.
Welcome back to the Locksmith Show, where Andrew and Ryan and I are here to answer all of your locksmith questions and concerns. Leland, you were saying?
Well, actually, I was saying. We're going to come back after the break.
Andrew was saying.
So I want to call out all of the local locksmiths in every major city to contact me, contact your web guy, contact somebody. We need to get our sites mobile ready. That's mobile get-in is what people were calling it a few months back. It has come out. It hasn't done a lot. Google's new AI that's coming out more and more, their artificial intelligence, will also make big changes in the way that the search engines search things, how we get sought out, how everything is seen on our phone, and more is going all on the mobile side. So the more of us that aren't mobile ready, the less you're going to get seen. The farther down your website is going to get pushed in the rankings. That's the problem with the Aloha Find a Locksmith website. On mobile, you only see 3 locksmiths. If you don't do it right and understand how the page works, it actually opens up in an iframe, which Google says is a big no-no because it's actually deterring away from that website. It's going to their other database, which is not right in Google's eyes. It's giving a different website.
I don't know an iframe from a U-frame to a they-frame, so...
Well, and this is in all my research over the years. I, own a production company, and we do videos, we do audio, we do everything, as well as I've been a locksmith for 15 years, too. So I want locksmiths to get on the game. Otherwise, the farther that they're away from that, the farther down they're going to go. And then the younger guys or the guys out there that are doing it, the scammers especially, they've got great built websites. They're done the right way. That's why Google ranks them higher than most of the other guys out there who are running websites that are rather old still.
Well, I think a lot of these scammer companies out there have entire IT departments that are just doing nothing but IT and SEO and buying one name after another, building it up, then buying the next name and building it up. And they're just putting out millions of websites that, we just can't compete with.
Yes, you can. And that's what I'm telling you. And people can do it. I've done it in 6 months. In 6 months, what I've done is incredible with a website that's been around for a few years, but I didn't touch it.
I think what I'm saying is when Atlas came out with 1,150 directory listings and I had one directory listing, they're going to get 1,000 times more phone calls than I am. If the scammers put out 1,000 times more websites than we do, then they're going to get 1,000 times more hits than we're going to have, just based on the number of websites that they have.
Yes, but if you aren't vindictive and lie, cheat, and steal like they do on their websites and get booted for it, Google looks for people to do their SEO the proper way, and they will give you credit for doing it the proper way. If you're doing it the way
I think that PageRank tool is fantastic.
Oh, PageRank is amazing. Moz Local is a company I use a lot of their tools from. Rand Fish is an amazing guy when it comes to SEO. He studied it for years. Is everything that he says right? No, it's not. It's all an educated guess on what he knows and what he's seen and the direction that he reads and every other SEO guy out there. But I can tell you that you can control your ranking very easily if you don't have to have an IT guy on your staff to get that done.
Tell that to Aloha.
I think that's more your job there, sir.
I will call Aloha out here myself.
As they call it, the monetizing. And the people that are on lower budgets and stuff, they have like for $10 a month, they'll take your regular website and they'll monetize it so it'll fit on the platform as well onto regular iPhones and stuff like that. What do you think on that end?
My thing, I think, with guys that are calling you and selling you a website, I don't. That's like buying somebody selling you a TV subscription to something. In my opinion.
What about the Baldino's thing where they're trying to sell you a web page for $10 a month and they're trying to actually help us? Do you put that in the same category?
I haven't really looked into Baldino's. I think it's Fair Trade Locksmith. I've looked a little bit into it, but I haven't received a phone call from them yet personally. So I don't know. I haven't dug in. I'd love Mark to call me, or I'll call Mark later on this week and talk to him about it.
It's not Mark. He's got a marketing guy that's doing his calls and putting that together for him.
Okay.
I was wondering
you're paying for a listing is what you're doing at that point.
No, the listing is free. They're they're charging $10. I believe it's $10 a month for each web page they put up, but they're giving free listings to legitimate guys.
So they're giving you a single splash page, which is fine. That will help. That is very considerable. Will help what they're doing. Very similar to what I'm doing, except they're on one page. You'll be on 15 on mine. Mine's a little bit more money. If you break it down, it probably costs that to be that way. Mine is the only thing is it's $150 a year with $100 startup, just so I can help pay a guy who helped me design some of this stuff. So, which he did out of the graces of his heart. I'd like to thank my dad, is a gentleman that's done a lot of this with me, who's been an SEO guy and a website guy for years. Was a director of a bunch of radio stations when I was a child, and we grew up in radio and advertising, and I know all about that, and moved into internet advertising in '99.
Does he have a business right now?
He does. Marketing Media.
And the phone number is?
I don't know what the phone number is to that. I don't want to give out his cell phone number, actually.
I'm looking it up.
You're looking that up right now?
All right. Well, we're going to give...
we'll give Mr. McCauley, Lynn McCauley. It is an amazing internet guy. Any of you guys locksmiths out there who want to talk to him, he'll talk to you about it anytime. And I think Ryan's got a phone number here in just a second.
I'm looking for
That's a win-win situation there. You can't go wrong.
I think I might have something spelled wrong. Okay, here we go. Yep, here we go. Nope, I don't have it. And my laptop just kicked me off the internet.
We're having troubles in the internet in here tonight. I will put the link on the Locksmith Show to my dad's website. But if you go to mickmarketingmedia.com, you can find him on there.
And Andrew says tonight at noon.
We're getting close to closing time, too, guys. I was just wondering, did any of you guys out there ever see the videos that they were kind of threatening, like Tom Lynch from Society of Professional Locksmiths, where they were putting him on YouTube with Tom and like a rat trap with his face on a rat trying to get out of a trap? Other ones that were turning it on and off. Have you experienced that? Because Tom called me and I saw him, and then later that day they came back down and they were reposting them up back and forth, and I was kind of skeptical when I first heard it until I called Tom back and said, "Yep, I saw him, Tom."
You know what? We're coming to the end of the show.
This is something that we'll have to try to tackle next week.
Yeah, why don't you
call
us?
Tom is an amazing guy. I'm going to stand behind that right now.
Why don't you call us next week, and we'll see if we can get Tom on the line, and we'll talk about this SOPL Bleeps website and what he's doing. We'll see you next week, ladies and gentlemen.
And I want to thank Leland from Reasonable Locksmithing calling in.
And the Phantom Locksmith for calling in as well. Everybody, you guys have a great weekend, and go Cardinals.